This meeting is being recorded.
Welcome, everybody. Let's start with opening prayer. Dear Lord, thank you for bringing us to this meeting. Please be with us today and give us an understanding of your message. Thank you for calling us all to be part of the 144,000, and please give us an understanding so that we can take the message to the Levites and Nethinims. We love you. Thank you for first loving us. Amen.
Welcome everybody to YPG meeting number 123. We are the Flucuses here in the YPG meeting room, and today is August 6, 2023.
The title of today's lesson is Abortion Right After Dobbs. It's been over a year since Roe v. Wade was overturned, and a lot has happened since then. In today's lesson, we're going to briefly review the details of the case, Dobbs versus Jackson, that the U.S. Supreme Court passed. We will also learn about the most controversial product related to abortion that is on the market today, the abortion pill. Finally, we're going to look at what has occurred, or actually what women have suffered since the ruling of Dobbs came out and under the current conditions that are in the U.S. today.
Decisions and laws. The United States Supreme Court case Dobbs versus Jackson's Women Health Organization was opened on May 17, 2021. The reason this case began was because on March 19, 2018, Mississippi passed the Gestational Age Act, which banned abortions after 15 weeks. The Jackson Women's Health Organization, or JWHO, filed suit in a federal district court. They called for an emergency restraining order for the bill, and on March 20th, the district court temporarily blocked the bill. The JWHO said that the bill was unconstitutional. However, the Mississippi State Health Officer, Thomas Dobbs, and others supported the bill banning abortion. Still, the district court continued to side with the JWHO, and on November 20th, it officially struck down the bill. On December 14th, a United States Court of Appeals also affirmed the district court's decision. On June 15, 2020, Dobbs appealed to the Supreme Court, and on May 17, 2021, the Supreme Court announced that they would hear the case. The JWHO argued that the right to an abortion is grounded in the 14th Amendment, quoting, "Physical autonomy of and body integrity are essential elements of liberty protected by the Due Process Clause," end quote. However, on June 24, 2022, in a 6-3 ruling, the Supreme Court overturned the lower court's decision, stating that the Constitution does not support abortion, giving each state the right to make abortion legal or illegal.
Anti-abortion trigger laws. The attempt to ban abortion access in the United States didn't start once the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. It started long before then. A trigger law is a law that isn't designed to be enforced once it's signed. Instead, its goal is to wait for a certain event to take place. Once that event takes place, the law will then become enforceable under the new circumstances. Many conservative-controlled states in the United States had trigger laws in place that would auto-ban abortion once Roe v. Wade was overturned. 13 states have passed anti-abortion laws specifically designed to go into effect once Roe v. Wade was ruled unconstitutional. Those 13 states were Arkansas, Idaho, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, North Dakota, Oklahoma, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, and Wyoming. However, more states had anti-abortion laws that were passed back in the 1900s previous to Roe v. Wade. The Roe v. Wade decision in 1973 had made these anti-abortion laws illegal, But if Roe was overturned, then these laws would resume their authority, effectively making them trigger laws. Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas, Michigan, Mississippi, Oklahoma, Texas, West Virginia, and Wisconsin were the 9 states that had passed these abortion laws, were the 9 states that still had these abortion laws on the books since the 1970s. There is some overlap, meaning that some states passed additional trigger laws, even though there were still some already from the 1900s. So on June 24th of 2022, Roe v. Wade was officially overturned by the Supreme Court. Not only did conservative states start banning abortions, but there was a trigger system in place that basically banned abortion automatically.
Old and new pills. The abortion pill is a very controversial medication. Actually, it is 2 pills, mifepristone and misoprostol. In 2016, the FDA, or the Food and Drug Administration, which in the U.S. is the organization that's responsible for approving all food and all medicine in the U.S. The FDA in 2016 changed the rules. It allowed the abortion pills to be used for medical abortions in pregnancies up to 22 weeks in. Before they had only said 7 weeks. Medical abortions can be done safely at home, but before that, the patient would have to meet either in person or virtually with their healthcare provider for a checkup and then instructions and a prescription. Both pills can be taken together, with mifepristone taken first and then misoprostol taken within 48 hours afterwards. But misoprostol can also be used by itself, and that was something that was done before mifepristone was approved by the FDA. Nevertheless, together the pills have a 97% efficiency up to 9 weeks, and they are used in over half of the abortions in the United States today. The FDA approved mifepristone for use in abortions in 2000, and since 2019, they have been loosening the restrictions around it. Misoprostol has been approved for longer and is actually used in other things like helping fight ulcers and dealing with miscarriages. But together, they are most effective in medical abortions, which healthcare providers agree is safe and effective. And on the screen, you can see 2 of the companies that produce the pills in their packages.
After the overturning of Roe v. Wade by the United States Supreme Court, many conservative states went on to ban the abortion pills, mifepristone and misoprostol. Quoting from Planned Parenthood, last year, which was 2022, a group of anti-abortion activists and organizations filed suit challenging the FDA over its approval of mifepristone, one of the 2 medications most commonly used in medication abortion in the United States. End quote. In 22 states, access to the pill is rarely available. In 15 states, it needs to be prescribed, and in 13 states, it's almost completely banned. The states in which it is almost completely banned are conservative states such as Texas, Arkansas, and Wyoming. In the latter state, Wyoming, they want to criminalize the manufacturing, distribution, and prescription of the pill. Other states such as California and New York are taking measures to ensure that the pill is still available. For example, in California, legislation was passed to ensure that the pill was covered in Medi-Cal, which is California's Medicaid healthcare program. And some states also like California are also stockpiling the pill because a lot of states aren't offering it anymore.
The new birth control pill, Opill. On July 13 of 2023, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA for short, approved a new pill. Norgestrel, sold by a brand called Opill, is the new pill that was recently approved by the FDA. Its goal is to prevent pregnancy, but what makes it unique is that it's the first daily oral contraceptive for non-prescriptive use. That means that you don't have to first visit a physician or clinician in order to have them prescribe the pill for you. Instead, Opill can be instantly purchased over the counter over the counter or online. The director of the FDA says that the new pill is, quote, safe and expected to be more effective than currently available non-prescription contraceptive methods in preventing unattended pregnancy, end quote. She also mentioned that Opill will be available for millions of people in the United States, a significant step toward the abortion access that has been repealed since Dobbs v. Jackson.
The state of women's health care. In states where abortion rights have been attacked, many abortion clinics have and are being closed, or their services are being limited. This has happened over 60 times since Roe v. Wade was overturned. These clinics are closing because they can no longer provide abortions, and that was their main service, so they can't make enough money to stay open. Or sometimes they close because the laws around abortions are too vague to risk providing them because the doctors could go to jail or lose their license. Still, some clinics stay open, offering other services, including birth control and post-abortion checkups if they can still afford it. Sometimes clinics move across state borders to try to still service the same community that they used to, but there are, unfortunately, some women who have to drive over 10 hours to reach an abortion clinic. The clinic in Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization court case has closed as well. The top picture is what the clinic used to look like when it was working or up and running, and it has been turned into some fancy shop that's like a pawn shop. It was the only abortion clinic in the state of Mississippi, and like I said, it has been sold now. But not all people who buy closed down abortion clinics try to hide what it once was. There was one clinic that was turned into an art studio, but the new owners kept some old signs to let people know what it used to be. Since Roe v. Wade was overturned, many clinics have been put out of business, and the resulting lack of services has led to many complications.
Problem pregnancies are an issue that anti-abortion supporters refuse to deal with. Many abortion bans have clauses where it is legal for women to have access to them when their life or the life of the unborn child is in danger. However, there are some cases where neither the life of the mother or child are necessarily in danger, but an abortion might be the better option. Cases often brought up are rape cases. The victim could very well be carrying a healthy baby, but should she be forced to carry and deliver a child that was forced onto her? According to many abortion ban laws, she should, and that's a problem. Another example would be when the child is not growing properly. They aren't necessarily a health risk to themselves and the mother, but they might be born with many birth defects and other issues where an abortion might have been the better option. Should the mother be forced to carry that baby to term? According to abortion bans, she should. This often leaves women to perform unsafe abortions on themselves, and up to nearly 15% of maternal deaths are caused by unsafe abortions every year.
The Sunday Law Test. Understanding the laws and controversy over abortion is important because it's part of the Sunday Law Test. Each reform line has a test that God's people are faced with. The Millerites were tested on slavery, the Adventists in 1888 were tested on the Sabbath, and today this movement is being tested on gender equality. At each waymark, the test becomes harder and harder, and since we are close to the Sunday law, we need to know what is expected of us in order to pass the test. Abortion is a major part of gender equality, and whether it's clinics shutting down or a new pill, the subject is being elevated as the days go by. Just because we support abortion doesn't mean that doesn't mean that there's nothing more to learn about the subject. The more we understand abortion and the external events surrounding it, the better prepared we will be for the Sunday law test, and the further we will progress as a movement.
In summary, so we began by looking at the Dobbs versus the Dobbs Supreme Court case. So we saw that lower courts had ruled that the law was unconstitutional and that they should have access to it. But the Supreme Court took up the case and ruled in favor of Dobbs, which is overturning Roe v. Wade. Then we looked at state trigger laws, which are laws that aren't necessarily laws until something else happens. So when Roe v. Wade was overturned, these trigger laws went into effect, and they have been there for 30 plus years, just waiting for them to be put into place and putting bans on abortion access. Then we looked at the abortion pills. So there are two abortion pills, and they allow you to have abortions with a 90% effective possibility up to 9 weeks. And in many states, the abortion pill is still available, but in a lot of conservative states, it has been banned. And so that is a problem for women who want to be able to have safe but abortions at home, because they can't just take this pill now. And the FDA also approved a new contraceptive pill that can just be purchased over the counter, which is not something that has been available before. And then lastly, we looked at the state of women's health today. And many abortion clinics are closing down because in a lot of states, the laws are so vague where they don't want to lose their license to be able to perform abortions. And then they don't do enough other things to be able to stay open and not do abortions. We also looked at problem pregnancies, which are when women are not necessarily carrying an unhealthy child, but an abortion might be a better option. But because abortions are banned in their states, they can't get an abortion. And so they're forced to carry a baby that otherwise they didn't want. And then lastly, we looked at the Sunday law test, which is gender equality. And under that umbrella of gender equality is abortion or women's rights. And so that's the test for today. Like in past histories, they had different tests. The test for our time is gender equality, and abortion is a big part of that. I think that's it for this one. Yeah.
So does anybody have any questions about the lesson? Or any questions about the message in general? If you do, you can always put them in the chat.
Okay, now it's quiz time. Question number 1. What did the FDA just approve? You can say the answer out loud. You can put it in the chat. The FDA, or the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, they just approved a new pill. What was it? We have 2 H's. Okay. And that is correct. The FDA just approved a new birth control pill, a pill that you don't need a prescription for. Question number 2. What is a trigger law? What is a trigger law? You have an F? Okay. A trigger law, F is correct. A trigger law is a law that, oh, we have a second F. A trigger law is a law that is made to go into effect once certain conditions are met. So we saw that when Roe v. Wade was originally made in 1973, a lot of states made trigger laws that once it is overturned, it would ban abortion again. So a lot of these laws have been in place since the 70s, and since Roe v. Wade has been overturned last year, abortion is effectively banned in those states. We also saw that there are some old laws from the 1800s that are also still in effect because Roe v. Wade was overturned. Next. Question number 3. What is the abortion pill and which one is being targeted? The abortion pill is one of the most controversial things today on the subject of abortion. And what is it? We have 2 eyes. So part one of the question is, what is it and which one is being targeted? Because as we saw, the abortion pill is actually 2 pills. 2 eyes, okay. I is correct. It's 2 pills, mifepristone and misoprostol. Mifepristone is first, misoprostol is second, but we saw that misoprostol can be used by itself and is also much older. And conservatives are trying to ban mifepristone right now. Question number 4. What problems have been on the rise since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade? Now, the answer on the screen is actually a different one that we spoke of, but you should be able to guess what the answer is. What problems have been on the rise since Roe v. Wade was overturned? A G and an A. Okay, let's go next. And the answer is A. Pregnancy complications are being treated properly. Now, we spoke about how sometimes abortion could be needed when the life of the mother or the child isn't being threatened, like we saw in the case of rape, or if the child has a deficiency or a medical problem. That's one of the things. Another one is that a lot of abortion laws have clauses for the life of the mother, but some doctors don't really know when the life of the mother is in danger. So, like, the woman could be sick because of some of the pregnancy, but she's not actually going to die at the moment, so they don't get treated, or they don't treat her until she gets progressively worse. So it is harming women's health. So that's one of the problems also that women are facing. Last question. What has happened to many abortion clinics? We have 2 Ds, 3 Ds. Okay. And that is correct. Many abortion clinics have closed because since they can no longer provide abortions, it's not really financially feasible for them to stay open. And this has created a lot of a problem. As we saw, some women have to drive over 10 hours to reach an abortion clinic these days. So it's really not a good thing. It's really hurting women's access to a choice. And we saw that even conservatives are now attacking the pill, which makes it even worse. So, yes. So, congratulations, everybody. Thank you for participating.
So thank you everybody for coming. To contact us if you want notes, if you have questions, if you want updates or the recording, you can email us at youthprophecygroup@gmail.com. And our next meeting will be on September 3rd, 2020.
Now let's close in prayer. Dear Lord, thank you for letting us understand what the Sunday law test is, gender equality, and help us to understand more of the issues around abortion. And thank you for letting us be on the right side of the issue, even though the Supreme Court voted on the wrong side. Continue to give us more understanding of current events so we can be prepared for the future. In Jesus' name, amen.
Bye.
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 Bye.